The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today to review our new BI reporting. So excited that you all were able to join us sorry, just showing the wrong screen, of course. Able to join us. You all are a very special group joining our beta webinar program. So we wanted to quickly go through the BI reporting with you today, just so you can get a little more information. I do have my colleague Bosky here on the line with me. Bosky, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful. So again, my name is Sophia Wilson, and I have Bosky here with us as well. So for our agenda today, Bosky is going to be going through just a little bit of an intro about the BI reporting, and of course the value that we hope to bring to our customers by having this new tool with us. And then I am going to actually take you folks through a quick little demo of what the tool looks like, and then there will be a Q&A sort of at the end. So as those questions are coming in, we'll actually be asking Bosky directly on the product feedback and their vision for the BI reporting, as well as maybe any questions that you might have on how to learn how to use the tool as well. That being said, of course, any questions as you have them as we're going through today, please put them into that questions chat box. I myself and another colleague will be answering those sort of in the back end. So please feel free to shoot those through to us. We want to hear them. And then, of course, any feedback that you have, please continue sending that through there as well. We want as much feedback as possible right now, especially from our beta group on your thoughts and your opinions and, of course, any issues you might run into regarding the new tool. So then, of course, all there really is to say is thank you for being a part of our BI reporting. We're really excited to have everyone here. So I think maybe Bosky, I'll hand this over to you to kind of get started with, and then I look forward to doing a quick little demo.
Thank you, Sophie. Can everyone hear me? All right. I'm gonna assume that as yes, and if anyone's having any trouble hearing, please post it in the question section, and then we can take a look at what's going on. So again, as Sophie said, thank you a lot for being part of Function Point, as well as being part of this beta group, a very exclusive group that we have released our BI reporting functionality. I am Bosky Mukherjee, and I am the Director of Growth at Function Point, and I lead our product management team, our UX team, as well as our marketing function. Before I go into a little bit of details, I just wanted to talk about why the BI reporting. Why did we decide to spend a lot of effort, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears, and a lot of joy into actually working on the BI reporting functionality that we released recently. So this was the #1 request from a lot of our customers like you. And what this really does is that we wanted to give you an ability to turn all of the data that you have, all of your business data that you have inside a Function Point into actionable insights that you could use to keep your firm, your agency profitable. So how is it different from what was existing before? You can now analyze all of your data across the entire FP system, all in one place through the BI interface. You can customize the reports that you build. You can save them, and then you can also use or start your reports from some of the templates that we have actually created. Those are called predefined reports that Sophie's going to go over them. You can even choose how you might want to see or visualize the data that you have retrieved from Function Point. Whether it is a simple 2D tables that you want to look at and then further make manipulations, or whether you want to do some more complex visualizations and look at it in the form of pivot grids or pivot tables. So that's really, it seems like just 3 or 4 different benefits or values, but I'm hoping here that all of you, when you were using the BI reports, that you've probably seen a big difference. I'm really hoping, and if not, then I would also love to hear that feedback as well. And any questions, please feel free to post them in the questions channel. We will be looking at it, and we are looking at it immensely, and then we will be answering all of those questions today. So over to you, Sophie. If you can maybe do a quick demo of some of the major and the key functionalities for our customers.
Yes, happily. So let's get out of my slides to start. I guess just to kind of start, Bosky, are you able to see my screen? It should be the function point demo system.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. So as Bosky was saying, we have built this new BI tool, BI reporting tool. And with that, we're hoping to have a lot new reports for you. So you can access this new tool directly through your function point system. So those of you that are familiar with the reporting section, you will still see the standard reports. We didn't want to throw anyone off and completely remove those from you. So you still have access to the reports that you know and somewhat love. I know there's some that maybe are not your favorite, and that's why we've, again, built this new tool. So to be able to access this, you will be able to just click on BI reports. It will automatically take you to the new page for you. You don't have to log in any extra way. So this is the new view for our BI reports. Again, pretty easy to sort of understand. We've started by organizing everything as actually Bosky and the product team really, or the growth team, sorry, has really done a lot of research into the most used reports. And so therefore we did base off of that the main ones that we should bring through into here to make available. So there is some organization over here. And then we come into the standard reports. So because of those reports that everyone was already familiar with, that was what we started by building. Now, what is really unique and exciting that we are excited about is a question that I very commonly get asked from our customer base is, we've always asked that everyone build out their system to a service level for time tracking, expense tracking, all these different purposes. But we've never really had a report that allowed you to actually drill down to that level so that you could actually report on it. So that was my biggest ask when they were creating this new tool, and I'm very excited to say that we do have that now. So by default, you'll be able to scroll through any of the standard reports, be able to see them. Something that I kind of want to point out is these data reports. So those of you that are already familiar with our find and list views that live in the system, these are now just the job data or the timesheet data or the invoice data reports that are now living in the BI tool. So you still have some of the functionality available to you in here that you also have within the system. So they're a little, you can reach them in both spots. Just a little fun fact for everyone. But again, the thing I'm most excited about is this job data report at service level. So you are now going to be able to drill into your reporting down to the service point. So once you've gone ahead and chosen your report, so step one, choose a report, you'll then be able to go into defining your data. So again, everyone that is currently using our reports, you are familiar with either being required or having the option of filtering before you even pull your data. So we have standardized that as well. We've kept any historical ones that everyone was already familiar with, including company name, project name, job, AE, job type. But something else that we have added in is now this delivery date. Sorry, the delivery date was already active on this one, but we have added it to a few more options as well as a few activity dates as well. So actual activity that's happening during certain times. Now, just for today's example, I'm going to pull absolutely everything that I have living within my demo system. This will now pull us through to our third option, which is actually pick your visualization. So by default, it will automatically just choose the table view for you. So this will be the standard view that you're already used to. But with the upgrades within the new BI reports, you will now also have the pivot grid options as well, which are really exciting and really new and quite useful. So just for today's example, I'm going to just pull the table just so we can see that, and then we'll transfer it into a pivot grid. So to start, it will automatically just pull those basic defaulted items. If you wanted to make choose options on the columns that you would like to display in this visualization to start, you're more than welcome to. But just for today's example, I'm going to skip this because we'll actually do it directly in this page too. So now we have landed on this table view, and I just want to kind of go through a few of these items so that you're aware of navigation within this page. So to start, we are going to have sorting options on each item, so you can come in here and sort as you're used to within the system itself. So obviously clicking up, it will all be in alphabetical order for you, and then if you just click it 3 times, that will clear the sort for you as well. You'll also notice these 3 dots over here. So that will actually allow you to rename this title if you want. You'll be able to click in here, and maybe right now it just says job, but I want it to say job name. And this will automatically then function throughout this report, as well as on other columns that are named like this. So you have column renaming options in here too. And then of course, this whole option, you can drag and drop the different columns into the areas that you would like them in. Now, I just kind of want to check in, Bosky, have we had any questions at all as I'm going through this that you feel like would be beneficial to do directly on screen, or should I continue?
Sophie, I think please continue.
Okay.
There are some questions coming, but I'll try to answer some of them here, and then if we find that that's like a more global question, then we can answer it at the end. Does that work?
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, awesome. So that is, again, some of the navigation and some of the manipulation that we can do directly in here. A couple other options are mostly living over here on your left-hand side of the screen. So you will be able to filter. So those filtering options that we had first chosen not to do when we first logged in, you can now filter as you wish with these different options. So maybe what I actually want is to go by the job status, and I only want to pull all of my currently open jobs. So I would then be able to make that adjustment. So that has shortened the list quite a bit. And now, of course, we can see that they are only our open jobs within here. Now, what else is quite fun is, of course, all of the financials that are super important to a lot of people. And within that, we can actually choose to add columns. Now, again, with a report like this, well, not at the service level, but at the job level previously, you were used to being able to add columns. But what is the newest and most exciting feature is actually adding the calculated columns. So I have, over the years, had multiple people kind of be like, you know, I really want, I calculate my margins slightly differently than Function Point does. So you do now have that ability of coming in and adding in calculated columns for how you would like items calculated. But of course, also just adding in any new columns. So if you wanted to add in new columns, you'd be able to come in, go through, be able to click, and then of course see what options are available to here for you. So the actual billables, maybe versus actual non-billables, you have all these abilities. And then of course you can go ahead and do a simple search as well if that is, it's a bit quicker because there's quite a bit of data that would be available here for you. So maybe just for today, I want to add in the internal expense. No, let's do external expenses. I think everyone can relate to that more. So let's do the external expense name. So you'll now see that external expense name has been added to the table. It will automatically just drop to the end here for you. And then if you need to reorder, you can as you wish. Now with the calculated columns, with the added calculated columns, you will still need to do a few little adjustments yourself. But if we wanted to come in here to the actuals and then actually minus the actual cost so that we can create that value of what our actual billable is versus the actual cost, we can go ahead and make that change. And then maybe we want to change it into currency. And I'm not... Again, since we are in beta, there are a few items here and there. You're going to have to excuse me as I'm still learning everything new as well. I'm not really sure why it's not letting me confirm it at this exact moment. Bosky, do you have any idea? Did I put in something incorrectly that I need to make sure I'm not teaching people incorrectly? Oh, of course, adding in an actual column name. Thank you, Daphne. I'm glad Daphne is listening to me in the background. So actual minus actual cost. Now that the column name is in there, we can then confirm that. And you will see that new column here at the end with that new calculation in there. And you'll always know your calculated columns versus a standard column by this symbol being up here in that title as well. Great. So now what is really the next biggest feature for everyone to be aware of is, of course, the pivot grids. So what you can do is you can actually come up here and click to change it directly from a table into a pivot grid. So with that, you'd be able to come in here, and then what you would do is you would go through and you would choose your rows and your columns, and then, of course, the data that you would want. Right now, the data is simply just aggregated. We do hope to change that and add in more options in the future, but for right now, it will just be an aggregated sum. So if we wanted to add in some options, maybe I want to add in the job name, and I want that to be at a row level, and then the service, I want, actually no, I don't want the job name, I want the service at the row, and then what I want is then to actually have the company. So in my thought process right now is I actually want to know how much time I'm spending per service for specific companies. I want to be able to break that out and see that. So for that, I'm then going to add in the company at the column point, and then what would be a good date? So this I can just start right now. So I want to put in that estimated subtotal as the actual data. So I want the service, what I've estimated, and for what companies it is that I've done that. So for this example today, I'm going to confirm that. And this will now pull up that pivot grid for us to then be able to view and manage as we would like. So again, there are lots of really great things that are starting to happen with these. You can add in multiple columns if you're wanting to add in some layers. So maybe actually I will set up that pivot grid, and let's see what dates. Maybe job start date. So whenever you find that there is an item that you're unable to pull into the pivot grid, so it's actually connected to the original table that you have. So we'll just need to navigate back to the table to make sure that we have that column that I'm looking for. And what I'm actually looking for is start date. So job date created. So let's add that in. We'll confirm that. And then I will come back to the pivot grid. And then I will be able to add in that job date created. Let's actually add that into columns. We'll confirm that. So now we'll actually be able to break this out too. So for Amazon, all the jobs created within 2018 by the quarter, and then we'll also start to see those totals adding up for them based off of those services, the company, and those dates that I asked for. Great. So now that was everything that I really wanted to show today. The only other items that are really important for everyone to take note of course, is this menu up here. So with these reports, you now do have the ability of actually saving these so that you can continue to come in here and populate them every single time without having to go through all the steps that I just went through to create this for you. So I'll be able to come in here to save as. You can then change the report title. So the job, maybe I'm going to call it the service level report by company and start date. And then you'll be able to change the description, all service level information for companies. Perfect. And then you'll be able to save that, and that will now be available to you on that first initial page. So if I were, and then now that this is saved, you'll be able to see continuing to save. So if you make changes, you can continue to save that. And then, of course, exporting it, and that will export it directly into Excel. And then, of course, simply deleting it is also an option too. Now, as you're going through this, if you need to make changes directly in your function point system, you can manually refresh this so that your data is just live updating for you. It won't live update. You'll just have to quickly manually refresh it to make sure that that data being pulled through is correct if you are making changes in function point at the same time. And then, of course, our standard help. Everyone should be familiar with this in your function point already. If you're needing to get to our help center or submitting feedback, please, we do want all of the feedback, so please get in there and submit everything that you can. But I will show you back to the selecting the new report, and you'll now see underneath these saved reports all of the different saved options that I had brought in. So here is that service level report by company and start date that I had done previously. And again, if we needed to filter by anything specifically, we could, but we can continue. Choose the pivot grid because that's how I had ended it previously and how I had saved it, and it will now pull that for us. Wonderful. So that was really everything I wanted to make sure that we showed today. Bosky, is there anything I'm missing that you would like to make sure that I do also show to the team?
Sophie, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So I think there were a few questions. One was about if we can drill down below services and look at task level information. The answer is yes. I don't know, Sophie, do you want to talk about it, or I can just kind of answer that question from a product standpoint, you know, a high level answer?
So just to confirm, this is tasks that would be living underneath, say, any of these services here on the pivot grid?
It could be pivot grid, or it could be a table view. I'm not sure, but maybe this would be something that I think this was asked by Xavier Washington. So maybe we can either answer it directly to him if we need some more clarifications. But I think if I may answer, Sophie, Xavier, there are task data reports available. If you go in the first screen, you would be able to find that. So I would encourage you to play with it and see if that gives you the information that you're looking for. If not, then I would definitely recommend you to please submit the feedback either through the AHA portal, which is our regular channel, or basically reach out to us directly for it. You can find the task data report under the standard reports. And so you should be able to play with that and then let us know. So that was one question. There was the other question. I think this is going to be good for everyone. And that was whether this webinar is offered as a video that can be viewed later. Sophie, do you want to take that?
Yes, so this webinar is being recorded. We do record all of our webinars. I don't think we have any plans of posting this directly on YouTube because this is still our beta group as of right now. So we don't necessarily want it to be, I guess you could say, leaked, if that's a fair word to use, Bosky. We do want to keep it within the group using it right now. So if you did want access to the recording, we can certainly provide that to you. But I don't think we have plans on posting it on any of our social media as of right now. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Bosky.
No, that is right. So we can definitely send the recording of this webinar to everyone, whoever is interested in this session. There was another question about, will there be pre-built report templates? If I'm understanding the question correctly, you are probably asking about some of the reports that are in the system from before, and if you could actually use that to either add columns and make your own reports. The answer is yes. There are 26 predefined reports, or the templates, that we have actually created and set up in the BI reports. So if you go to the first screen, how Sophie had set up the demo, you can actually choose your category, and then inside the category, you can actually start looking at those predefined reports. So there are 26. And again, repeating what Sophie said right in the beginning, a lot of the decision based on which reports have been chosen as those 26 predefined, we went with the usage numbers. And wherever the usage numbers were very, very high, we decided to actually prioritize those over some of the low low usage ones. So Scott, I'm assuming that answers your question. There was another question. Let me just take a look. There is a question about, do we have the ability to make custom reports using any of the available data points in function point? Sometimes the data we need to use are in a different report in FB. So if I'm understanding this question correctly, then I think what you're asking is that if we already have a report that is in FB, and we want to modify that and either add or sort or do other kind of manipulations or add some other things, are we able to build that kind of a report? So the answer is yes and no. And why I'm saying yes and no is that I think Sophie was showing that in the demo where you can start with one of the predefined reports and then add either some new columns that make sense in that report, or you can also add calculated columns where you may want to add, like, let's say, a total invoice or something that is a combination of, let's say, 2 or 3 different fields. So you can definitely do that. As far as completely building something out of scratch, like a custom report, not at this point of time. But if you do find that that is, heavily being requested by our customers, then of course, as part of the growth team or the product team, we're going to look at prioritizing that. But at this point of time, we are not going to be releasing with the custom reports. So did that answer your question? If not, and if I've misunderstood the question, please clarify that. So that would be my response to that. Okay, what is the other question? Can we run reports for separate offices? I might need a little bit more information on that. That was Julie. Would you mind maybe just elaborating on your question a little bit? Okay. Hi, Bob. Really nice seeing you here. I remember that when we were talking, I think it was earlier this year, on one of the customer interviews, a lot of your feedback went into the BI report. So thank you for your time there. I would like to design a custom report from scratch too. Thank you. Please keep some of these feedback coming. If you do find that some functionalities you really need that is not part of the beta, please let us know, and we can definitely look at prioritizing that. The general release that we are planning in the next couple of weeks, we are not looking at adding the custom reports. That does take a lot of effort in terms of the size of the effort to build that. So it could definitely be something that we look at putting in our roadmap and evaluating that.
And I might actually be able to touch on Julie's question there, just regarding the separate offices. So Julie, yes, of course, I'm very familiar with your workflow. As an initial search, you won't be able to do the offices, but that should be an option as a column. So how about you and I can connect on this on the different reports that I know that you're looking for right now, and how I can help you pull those. So let's shoot me an email after this, and you and I can connect on that.
Okay. Thank you, Sophie. There is one question. I'm not sure if that applies to a lot of the people, Sophie, but I might need a little bit of help from you here. I think the question, if I can understand it, is saying it would be helpful to have a little bit of time, half an hour or so, with an FP expert to help us find the correct reports, because there are 26 reports that we have. There's a lot of options, and so I think just a little bit of guidance and things like that. I'm wondering if this is something that maybe, Sophie, we can talk about it after this webinar and come back with what might make sense or what that might look like. It could even be something where we could actually have a chat with Matt, who's asked that question. Or if you have some thoughts, Sophie, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, of course. And Matt, you know that here on the Success team, we always want to be able to help everyone get exactly what they're looking for. I know during this beta period, our goal really was to, I guess you could say, open up the space for you to really kind of try and break it. And so that's the only reason why our Success team hasn't really been helping people with building things right off the bat, because we are looking for your input on how it works, how intuitive it is, and how the tool is actually working for you. Now, when it comes to like the actual data that you're looking for, if you want to shoot the Success team an email of the data that you're looking for, we can certainly help point you in the right direction. Bosky, do you think that's fair to say, or because that was really a huge goal that you were looking for with the beta, correct?
More or less, I think as part of beta, the primary goal is to get. It's almost like a preview or a trailer of a movie, where you see and you get that feedback of what's working, what might not be working, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So yes. But I think, as you said, Sophie, I'm totally on board with you. Like, if there is a specific question, if someone can reach out to the success team, and then we can look from there, and perhaps, that might even give us a little bit of an insight on when we actually roll this out to everyone, and not just a specific data group. We could probably look at a different way of rolling it out. As you've probably seen, in Function Point, we do have supporting documentation, which is the user documentation, the release notes, and all of that. We haven't made that public as of now during the beta, just because, again, if we wanted to kind of control that, and we wanted to see how you were actually figuring the product out. But once we release it in the next couple of weeks, both the user documentation as well as the release notes will be accessible from within the product. So if you click on that exclamation mark for help, you can actually go there and get it. So that would probably be of a little bit of help. There are also some tool tips and a whole bunch of that guided walkthroughs that we've tried to put in the product to kind of just maybe help our users use and kind of discover what the different functionalities are. Again, that can be improved, and a whole bunch of things can be added there. But I think we're assuming at this point of time that those would be helping and enabling all of our users to use it. But then if you do need something extra, then please reach out to the success team. Did that answer your question? I think that came from Matt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and just for everyone on the call, I think most of you are pretty familiar with my team, but so the success team, the best way to get in touch with us is through success@functionpoint.com. So yeah, feel free to shoot us some emails.
I think there is another question regarding deposit invoices from Robin. I believe we might need some more information from you, Robin, in order to point you or suggest or recommend, which might be the best report that you might be able to get this information. Perhaps there is some existing columns that you might be able to use, or maybe this is an opportunity for you to use the calculated columns. But again, if you could either get back to the product team or the success team with this question, we can definitely take it offline.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, it looks like the questions are starting to slow down, Bosky. Do you have any sort of last comments at all? Everyone, again, please feel free to shoot even just feedback through to the questions box. Or, of course, please submit all of your feedback through to the AHA portal. We want to get everything that we possibly can. So through the AHA portal, you have access to this entire section for your use. Sorry, I thought I was logged in already. There we go.
I believe that the AHA portal would be the best bet, because we are looking at the portal daily and multiple times in a day. So that would be the safest bet. But then, of course, we are always here, and everyone does have the way to contact success team as well.
Wonderful. And if you have any trouble logging into the AHA portal here, please feel free to shoot us an email, and we'll make sure that that you have the correct login. Okay, great. Well, I think if there was nothing else that you wanted to make sure that we covered today, Bosky, I think we can wrap this up, and we continue to look forward to hearing your feedback, everyone, and anything else that you might want to see. We're really excited about this new release and getting it out to everyone else, and not just you lucky few.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Bosky.